matter what hour your clock strikes, here it's always Halloween, and I'm always your haunted host, Luce Tomlin Brenner. Welcome to Small Frights Friday. On these very special episodes, I like to share a curated selection of calls from our All Hallows Hotline and letters from our mailbag. And today is a very special episode indeed, because today is the first day that I am fully working for It's Always Halloween. Yay! Clap, 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 clap. Ah, cheers, screams. Haunted creatures coming out of the shadows to give me a high five. Woo! You guys, thank you so much to your dedication, especially the dedication of the Patreon Ghoul Gang in supporting this podcast for a year and a half now. We are going in full time on this podcast with your support. Wow, this feels amazing. Also feels a little bad. Here's why it feels bad. You guys, I have COVID again. All I wanted to do was celebrate this week, but I got COVID again. So I'm a little self-conscious about the way that my voice sounds. I've been recording this episode for several days now, and this is the best that I can do to get this to Pete in time. So hopefully it sounds good. It's going to be a little shorter, a little smaller of a fright than normal, just because I am so tired and just need to get back to bed. But it's the beginning of March. It's the beginning of a new month. It's the beginning of a new chapter in our shared haunted history together. And I just am so happy to be here with all of you lanterns out there in Halloween land. Thank you, thank you, thank you for making this show possible. And as I was saying, huge thanks to the Patreon Ghoul Gang, who is the reason for the season. They produce every single episode, and we just hit 100 patrons. More screams from the ghouls in the back. This is so thrilling. I'm going to do a big trick-or-treat giveaway and send some cute trick-or-treat bags out to some of our patrons, and I will be announcing more details on that soon. In the meantime, we are very close to our next Patreon goal. The next goal is $1,000 on Patreon, and when we reach $1,000, I'm going to host our first in-person live event here in Los Angeles. I would love to do it before calendar Halloween. I'm thinking a late September show would be so fun. I have so many friends and entertainers here that I would love to get involved in the show. So let's get to $1,000 before September. I think we can do it. We're only $356 away. Oh my gosh, that's so close. My other $1,000 goals include creating more in-depth episodes featuring more structured interviews with subject experts. So as we get into our witch chapter and then a vampire chapter, there are experts I want to interview and hear more about the topic from them, not just from my own primary research. So to push out our understanding a little more through some other experts' perspectives. And then my other goal when we hit $1,000 is to start a website. I would love to have a website for the podcast. I am not super tech savvy. I am stage savvy, which means that I can be very funny with my face and my words, but anytime my hands get involved, it's a mess. So if I have to put together a website, I cannot, it's like visually doesn't make any sense to me. If I could creatively write a website and then it would just look beautiful, oh my gosh, amazing. But so that's a goal that I could actually have the money to hire a professional website builder. And then we could have this really terrific resource where all of our episodes would be there with all of the sources and all of the recommendations that come on these episodes, and it would be like a really great place for all things It's Always Halloween. with patrons in mind, we got so many new patrons in February. I just want to get a shout out going to all of the new Ghoul Gang members. Thank you so much for signing up. Allison Garrett, Fred Spears, William Craig, Dustin Meadows, Natalia Rohde, Megan Bennett, Jessica Kaffas, very sorry about that, Kimmy, and David Browley. Welcome to the Ghoul Gang. I hope you guys all are on the Discord, looking through all of our past posts. Reach out if you have any questions. We're happy to have you here. We have so much fun stuff coming up in the month of March. This is it's St. Patrick's Day. This is a month where we celebrate Irish culture and tradition, and it's super important to people who are fans of Halloween because Ireland is the birthplace of Halloween, as we know. And if you don't know that, go back to the very beginning and listen to our Where Did Halloween Come From episode. So here's what's coming up. If you are interested in joining the Patreon and you just need an extra good reason, listen up. And if you're already a Ghoul Gang member, make sure you check Patreon for these benefits. We have a new ghost story coming out on Monday, a bonus episode. We have a movie night coming up on Saturday, March 13th. And right now we have a poll open. There is 6 different Irish movies, Irish horror, Irish kind of like spooky ghost stories, nothing too extreme. We have 6 different ones up on the Patreon right now that people are voting on. And the 2 that are in the lead are one that I'm really excited about. That's a ghost story called The Lodgers. And then the other one, which is not Irish actually at all. It's the one that is the sore thumb, the one that is maybe offensive, Leprechaun, the classic Jennifer Aniston slasher film from the early 90s. It's very American, but it's really silly and fun. So those are the 2 that are in the lead, but there are plenty of other movies up there, and you have another few days to vote in the poll. So if there is a Irish horror movie you'd rather watch, get on the poll, make sure your voice is heard, because next Sunday, March 13th, we will be watching one of the highest, the one that gets the highest votes. And then on the following Sunday, March 20th, we'll be watching the other one with the second highest level of votes. So Sunday, March 13th and Sunday, March 20th are going to be our movie nights starting at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time this month. And then we have a ghost story coming out on the 7th. We have another ghost story coming out on the 21st. And we have our book club meeting on March 29th. And we're reading a really fun book called When Halloween Was Green about the commercialization. It's a fiction novel. So it satirizes the commercialization of Halloween by unleashing Celtic monsters of yore upon like modern Americans who aren't taking the holiday seriously. So I'm excited because this is the first book in book club that we'll be reading that is specifically about Halloween and not just adjacent witches or slashers. So I'm psyched on that. It's also like a smaller author, Bernard Finnegan. And so it's super available online and in libraries. So I hope you can pick up a copy of that and join us. The book club is a $6 tier. Movie nights are a $10 tier. And if you want to join us for Kitchen Witch, that is a $3 tier. And we have a very fun Kitchen Witch event coming up this month. And what is that? Do I hear the phone ringing? Oh, yeah, that's the phone. Okay, hold on. The hotline is ringing right now. Hold on just a second.
Hello there, fellow Luce Lanterns and Ghoul Gang members. This is Grim from Nathan. I'm calling to invite you to a very special Kitchen Witch event. Luce and I would love to invite you to our first ever Kitchen Witch Live on Tuesday, March 15th at 6 p.m. This month we will be making stuffed jack-o'-lantern bell peppers, and we'd love for you to cook with us. You'll find this month's Kitchen Witch recipe in your inbox or on the Kitchen Witch Discord. We encourage everyone to get the ingredients ahead of time, and on Tuesday night, March 15th at 6 p.m., we'll be going live on Instagram Live and cooking the recipe step by step. If you have all the ingredients and are able to join us, we can all cook the same dish together and enjoy some spooky Halloween eating. We hope to see you all there and come ready for a delicious dish. and with any questions you want to ask while we work on some kitchen magic with our cauldrons. Excited to see you all there, and bon appetit. Bye.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much, everybody. That was our Grim Turn, Nathan. And Nathan, you can hear him. He's goes all the way back. He's been with us since the beginning, and he first called in on an episode last summer called Kitchen Witch, and it's been his idea to pursue our monthly recipe club. So tune in on March 15th. That's a Tuesday. And we're going to do 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And if you have Instagram, you can just check us out at It's Always Halloween Podcast and cook with us. I think it'd be so fun. And if you don't want to cook with us, you can ask us questions, and we can talk about how ridiculous I look when I'm cooking, because it is not natural for me. It's very much alchemy. It's very much witchcraft. I am in over my head, and I will look demonic as I'm doing it. But Nathan is the cook between us, so he has assured me that he's got me and that I will not burn myself. I won't dive into a pot of boiling oil accidentally. How could you do that accidentally, you might ask? I don't know. If there's an option, if it's possible, it could happen to me. I got COVID twice. So listen, keep me away from your hot pots of oil. I'm curious. I'm a curious kitten. All right, guys, we have got quite a show. Let's dive right in. And what is this? Another hotline call? Oh, dearies me.
Hello, Luce and Lanterns. This is JT again. Or the first time, I don't know if my last call would get aired before this or after. Who knows? This is JT. Today is a special day. It's my birthday, February 25th, and so I'm going to do what every girl wants to do in February and celebrate Halloween. Los Angeles is kind of the perfect place. I'm going to run around town going on a tour of all the macabre and unusual places I haven't been to yet. So I'm going to go to Boris Karloff's Rose Garden, hang out at the Hollywood Cemetery. I've been there for movie screenings, but never just during the day. Going to the old abandoned zoo, the haunted zoo at Griffith Park, a bunch of things. And so obviously the one true way to start off Halloween is by calling in the It's Always Halloween hotline. So yeah, anyway, I wanted to share a funny story about Rocky Horror, since we've been talking about that a lot. My very first time going to a Rocky Horror Picture Show, I was in college, and this was at the height of me loving to cosplay. I cosplayed everything. So I knew since people dress up, I had to cosplay. I had seen the movie once before, so of course I went as Janet. Easiest costume ever. I put on some flats, a slip, and a white bra. I was good to go. So they played the games for the virgins, as everyone has already mentioned on here. And the last game, there was a lot of virgins in the audience. And the last game, I went down and she said, all right, the first girl to take her bra off under her shirt the fastest wins. I'm only wearing a bra. Everyone looked at me and started laughing. And then this nice gentleman, some guy I don't even know in the audience, took off his sweatshirt and threw it down for me to wear so that I still got to participate. Obviously, I lost because taking off a bra through long sleeves, not easy. But I just thought that was really funny and amusing, and yeah, so that was my first experience at Rocky Horror. Anyway, I can't wait to see what's going on with the Ghoul Gang, and I can't wait for the witchy chapter coming up soon. I shall keep listening. Stay spooky.
JT, happy birthday to you, fellow ghoul, fellow lantern. It sounds like you had the most perfect birthday, and I can't think of a better way to celebrate a birthday than with Halloween. Happy Birthdayween, as one of our lovely other lanterns, Becky, emailed me on my birthday this year, and I think of that every time now. So happy Birthdayween The old haunted zoo at Griffith Park is one of my favorite places. I'd be very curious if you've ever heard a tiger ghost growl there. That's part of the superstitions. For those of you outside of Los Angeles, the old haunted zoo is kind of pretty much like what it sounds. It's like an old-timey zoo that used to be in Griffith Park, closer to like the 20s and the 30s when small cages with like iron bars was the look. If you've watched the movie Cat People, which is one of my favorites, the original one, not the one from the 80s, the Val Lewton Cat People, then you could see the types of cages that I'm talking about, not friendly for the animals. That being said, supposedly a lot of animals who died at that zoo now haunt the zoo. And while the bars aren't up anymore, you can walk in and out of their enclosures. And there's actually picnic tables in the enclosures. But again, there's no bars, so it's not actually enclosed anymore. It's just like these cool rock formations. And the Los Angeles Haunted Hayride typically has its path go through the old zoo. So they utilize aspects of it for their set pieces during that excursion, which I always really like. I myself have never heard of any ghost tigers, but at a certain time of day, under a certain moon, you're supposed to hear the roar of the tigers. So I have yet to speak to anybody who has, but I'm very fascinated. And of course, I love a ghost story. So please share with me if any of you have had that experience. And JT, this Rocky Horror Picture Show story has me cracking up. I love that you're just like, but this bra is all I have. And of course, the person who volunteered a top for you had to be a long sleeve sweatshirt. Like, not the easiest thing. You can definitely get it off, but like, not sexy. You know what? I am not going to put it past our listeners. We've got some very talented lanterns out there, so I'm sure one of you is very good at doing a casual, under the clothes, under a big, bulky, gilded, heavy cotton sweatshirt striptease, but it is not something I would have been able to do. But I absolutely loved hearing about your story, JT, so thank you. And here's to your best ghoulish year yet. So happy to get to spend a little bit of time with you. Up next, we have an EEEEKmail. I was just listening to the Small Frights Raven Friends episode. I remember when we learned about Edgar Allan Poe in school and how he really stood out to me amongst the other writers of the Romanticism genre. His life was so tragic, and his work continues to impact and inspire so many people around the world. It was so cool to learn about the museum and the Poe-themed beers on the East Coast. It made me think of a very fun and spooky brewery that we have here in Southern California, Phantom Carriage Brewery, named after the 1921 Swedish film, The Phantom Carriage. The decor is to die for, and the menu is filled with creepy concoctions. Some beer names include Violet Silhouette and The Reaper's Grasp. They even have a screening room that's always playing a scary movie. I'll leave you their link below, as well as the full version of The Phantom Carriage, which is available on YouTube. Thanks for all you do, and thanks for all Pete does, and thanks for keeping Halloween alive all year round. Diego, ghost emoji, devil face emoji. Wow, Diego, this place looks so cool, and I've never heard of it before. Thank you for turning me on to it. It's in Carson, California, and it looks like a very fun, chill place. They also host events there, which is cool, and they have merch, which is very fun. I love that this place is themed after kind of a rare silent film that not that many people have seen. It's so specific, and my film-loving heart appreciates it very much. Also, I had no idea that the Phantom Carriage was available for free online. That's awesome. So The links to the Phantom Carriage Brewery and the original film are in our show notes. You guys have to watch this film. It's really beautiful. And the fact that it's Swedish, if you're not a big foreign film person, doesn't matter because it's silent. So you have to read the cards anyways. There's a bar in Hollywood some SoCal lanterns might know about called the Beetle House, which is a Tim Burton themed bar. And I've been there a couple times and it's definitely cool, but it feels like kind of a one-time experience to like get photos and like say that you went there. It's expensive. There's nowhere to park. It's obviously like a club sort of atmosphere, which is no shade to anybody, but it's just not my vibe. I have to be able to sit. I have to sit and have a conversation when I go out. I am not good at standing and shouting over music anymore. I have no patience. So the Phantom Carriage Brewery looks way more my speed, but I'll put the Beetle House link in the show notes as well, just so you guys can check it out. And if there's any other horror themed bars out there that you've been to, I want to hear about them. I think it's so cool the way that people are kind of mixing their passion for horror films and Halloween with their passion for good hospitality. Truly cannot get enough of themed spaces. Thank you, Planet Hollywood and Hard Rock Cafe, for paving the way in the themed restaurants arena. All right, up next, we have another call.
Hi, Lucy. This is Sadie Fisher. I'm one of your Ghoul Gang members, and I'm calling from St. Paul, Minnesota, and I wanted to tell you and the group about something really scary that happened to me when I was a little kid. So I have always been really into horror movies, and my friends and I would spend a lot of our time watching them when we'd get together for sleepovers. And my friend Desiree and I, one day we decided this is separate from horror movies in general, but we were going to have a sleepover, and her dad had a boat. We lived near the St. Croix River. So it was not quite summer, so the boat was not in the river yet. It was parked in their driveway of their house. And we decided we were going to sleep in there overnight because it had a little compartment underneath. So we're in there having like regular sleepover party fun. And all of a sudden we could hear somebody walking around the outside of the boat. Of course, we assumed it was a murderer, and we started screaming. And then immediately realized, no, we can't let them know we're in here. So we were silent. And we could hear somebody walking around the whole outside, and then eventually they left. I was like, I don't know, fully grown age, like 40-ish, when I started thinking about it from this person's perspective. Whoever this person was, walking in the middle of the night, hearing, seemingly coming from the middle of nowhere, just like giggling little girl voices, and then a bunch of screams, and then silence, and they're probably walking around the outside of the boat trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But to us, we were the victims of the situation. So I wonder who's more scared, him or us. I will never know, but I can say it's definitely a memory that I'll cherish forever. So I thought you would get a kick out of that story, and that's all I've got for today. Talk to you soon. Bye.
Sadie, you were right. I got a huge kick out of that story, and I can't help but laugh thinking about how, yeah, this maybe was somebody who was like, oh no, children's voices in the night. Like, just think now if you were walking in the dark and you started hearing like child's laughter. Like, child's laughter is pretty disturbing. Like, when you're not anticipating it. Of course, if you have kids, you're hanging out with kids, you're like, oh yeah, the delightful tinkle of a child laughing. But if you're alone in the night and you're walking somewhere and then you just hear like, like, you would be so upset. I guarantee it. So I'm glad that wasn't a crazy person who was coming to murder you and all of your friends, and that it ended up just being kind of like a fun sleepover moment of giddiness. There's truly nothing scarier, though, when you're a teen girl and you've spent all night just ginning each other up with urban legends and like clips of slasher movies and playing the Ouija board and like telling stories about that woman who lives in the house alone at the end of the street, to then hear like any noise at all, you're just like, everything's coming for us. Like, I could not sleep at sleepovers. I was terrified. I didn't miss my parents. And it wasn't that I couldn't be away from home. It was that I imagined every version of a killer creature or person just like stalking around the outside of this other person's home. I was just obsessed with thinking I was going to be murdered as a child. Thank you, stranger danger programming. Geez, it's a lot to put on a child to let them know that they could be kidnapped all the time. Speaking of being afraid of strangers, hey, do you know that we're rolling out a new program called the Local Lantern Society? It's your way to connect with strangers. But loving, kind, Halloween-obsessed strangers who just want to meet you to go to a local monster convention. So the EEK mailbox is overflowing with the information you have sent in so far. Thank you, Nathan. Grimturn Nathan and I are, I was going to say coagulating all the information. We are putting the information together in a spreadsheet. My brain is toast right now. And it's about time for me to get another nap, my 50th nap of the day. I am on my cat's sleep schedule currently. So we are tallying up all the information that we have. In the meantime, if you are interested in starting a chapter of a local lantern society in your region, or you just want to be a part of fun Halloween stuff in your region with fellow lanterns, inclusive people who care about creating a lovely trick-or-treat environment for others, then I made a Google form. So the Google form is in the show notes. It's also on the link tree on our Instagram. So just fill out basic information there. And if you have any questions for us, you can put that in the form as well. So you don't have to email me with your information. You can just put it straight into the form. Super easy, but I will take it over email as well. As we speak, Nathan is designing little membership cards and special Local Lantern Society pins and stickers. So we'll have some fun stuff so that you can show the world about your secret club that you're in. And I'm really excited. There's so much cool stuff coming up this year. I've had a lot of meetings with fellow artists on some collaborations that are going to happen. And I've been doing so much research on these new episodes, these new history episodes that'll come out soon. So you guys, this is our year. I'm really feeling it. I hope that you're finding some fun ways to interject Halloween and spookiness in your day-to-day life. You know, the springtime, especially if you're not living in a warm weather place, the springtime is a really rough time. I myself have been affected by seasonal affective disorder, and I always find the glowing light of a jack-o'-lantern to perk me right up. So I hope I can be that for you. I want you to know that for my listeners in Russia and the Ukraine, my heart is with everybody right now, everyone who is affected by this horrible war. I've been stringently anti-war since I was in high school and the Iraq War started. So this isn't me being political. This is me being myself. I'm thinking of you guys. Thank you for listening. And I hope that you're able to stay safe and take comfort in family and loved ones. If anyone out there wants to share their Halloween memories or how they are injecting a little bit of spookiness in their day-to-day life this spring, please give us a call on the All Hallows Hotline at 802-532-DEAD. Or you can write us an EEEKmail at itsalwayshalloweenpodcast@gmail.com. If you would like to support the show on Patreon, you can click the Patreon link in the show notes or visit patreon.com/itsalwayshalloween, or you can drop a one-time tip in the tip jar. Tips of $30 or more means you get to sponsor an episode individually. That's exciting. Today's episode was written and performed by me, Luce Tomlin-Brenner, with help from your fellow lanterns, Diego, Sadie, and JT. Thanks so much for calling in, all of you. I appreciate it. And the sound design, theme music, and editing was done by the amazing Pete Burns. Thanks, Pete. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter at LTBcomedy, and you can follow Pete at Mittenberries. You can follow the podcast on Instagram at It's Always Halloween Podcast. You can buy It's Always Halloween merch on Redbubble. And if you want to support the podcast in a free and easy way, you can leave us a 5-star review and just a couple of sentences telling the people out there why they should love and listen to It's Always Halloween. We haven't had any recently, so let's pump up those stats a little bit so people know that we are a year-round Halloween history podcast. And guess what? That's the end of our show. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of It's Always Halloween. And come back next time, unless you're a scary man stomping around the outside of my pod closet, 'cause you're freaking me out.